Alright, gonna start me a podcast today. Wait, hold up. What's with this smell? It's putrid, but also it seems kind of familiar. As if someone from the past had decided to live at the studio for a month. We have at least a year's worth of rations for all the snacking we do back here and a clean tap. But geez, hold on a second. Who's that with the scruffy looking face and the smell of body odor and maple syrup? God dang it, is that Matt? Matt, have you really been hiding here this whole time?
Who you callin' Matt? The name's Snappa Leatherback. And who the hell are you?
What do you mean? Wait, hold up. Are you saying that you were the one who made that weird April Fool's episode of the pod that mysteriously appeared? Well, there's to Matt. April Fool's is over.
Yo, what the hell is April Fool's? And why do you keep calling me Matt? For the last time, I ain't Matt, and I ain't met no Matt. The name's Snappa, and live from New York, it's Saturday night!
What are you even...
It's time for the next episode of Hello Nintendo. Yo, Embassy, kick it.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Hello Nintendo, the official podcast of r/Nintendo. I'm your host Amogh AKA Caststarman, and with me today are Brooks AKA Mariomaster 2015, Usama AKA Mr. Usamakhan, and our new host Rhys AKA Delicious_Cheese. And as is Hello Nintendo tradition, let's ask our new host a few questions about themselves to get to know them a bit better. So Rhys, what do you do for the subreddit?
Hi, I do very, very, very little. Just breaking the ice there, boys. Don't worry about me. Basically, I'm the most lazy mod on the team. Originally, I was brought on to do the CSS for the subreddit. So if any of you can remember, like way back in 2016, so long ago, there was a whole bunch of themes that we did basically for every game club. We did one for Pokemon, one for Yoshi's Woolly World. We did heaps, and that was my job basically whenever I had spare time. And unfortunately, my spare time has dried up just a little bit, so I've taken a little bit of a break. The last one I did was the theme for the Switch announcement, but that was it.
All right. And what was your first console?
My first console. Ooh, you're gonna make me feel like an old man. It was probably. Does the Commodore 64 count as a console? I don't know if it does.
Yeah, I'd say so.
In my books, it does.
Well, in that case, yeah, a Commodore 64 was definitely the first. I have very fond memories of me as a child playing Spider-Man with my father on the thing, and like waiting half an hour for the tapes to load up, and having to like type in QBasic just to get a game to run. But my first console that I guess you guys would understand as a console was Nintendo Entertainment System. Ooh yeah! Straight in with Mario and Duck Hunt.
Oh, nice. Which one did you play more, Mario or Duck Hunt?
Mario. I hated that damn dog. No matter what culture you come from, no matter what language you speak, the laughter of that dog is pure mockery distilled in digital form.
The united soul.
Exactly. In fact, no, yeah, never mind. I nearly made it swear.
All right. Before we get you to swear, Rhys, okay, your username, Delicious Cheese, is pretty unique. How'd you come up with it?
Well, I mean, are you somehow insinuating that cheese is not delicious?
I am not. Cheese is most definitely delicious.
Okay.
I like all types of cheese.
Somebody, as As someone from the Midwest, I
So
live on
then
cheese.
we're good.
So
Is there really need to be a
know.
more explanation?
Yeah.
In all honesty, I just thought it sounded. When you make a Reddit name, you just say anything, don't you? Something funny, And I just thought, well, delicious cheese. I like cheese. It just popped into my head and it stuck.
Ooh, well, I mean, I guess you could call it funny, but cheese is a very, very serious topic in the Midwest, and we don't appreciate calling it funny. It's a way of life.
I actually do prefer to go by my more formal title, which is your Lord and Savoury Snack, Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's much better.
Your grated Lord, in fact. I'm so, you know what? I'm sorry I made that joke. I feel really bad now.
Alright, and do you make these terrible puns outside of Reddit too?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, what do you do?
Not the cheese. I don't walk around introducing myself as Jesus Christ. That wouldn't get me very far in life. I think it'd probably get me institutionalized. But yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a good pun?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and Rhys, you're actually coming here from the XboxOne Party Chat, right? You're like one of the main hosts there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm recording now in probably what sounds like a refrigerator, but I'm one of the co-hosts on the Xbox One Party Chat podcast, which is the official podcast for the Xbox One subreddit. In fact, you guys have had Uncle Jesse, my co-host, on here before.
Yes, we have. I think 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are, if I recall correctly, you are nearing or about to hit that 1 year mark of the podcast, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm not entirely sure when this episode's going out, but it's in 2 weeks, so it's on the week of April the 10th. It's going to be our 50th episode, which is our 1 year anniversary, and we've got a whole bunch of returning guests coming back who have recorded birthday wishes, and we've got our very first episode. We had an interview with Major Nelson, aka by his real name Larry Herb, who is like the spokesman for Microsoft. If anyone doesn't follow Xbox news, probably not. This is a Nintendo podcast, but anyway, he is to Xbox as oh my god. As Reggie, I can't. You know what, Embassy? Make sure that does not make it into the podcast. I did not forget Reggie's name, but yeah, he. I know, right? He is to Xbox as Reggie is to Nintendo, and yeah, he was on our very first episode. He helped us launch a year ago, and so he's coming back for the 1 year anniversary, which is going to be really fun. I hope. Hopefully we can get some of you guys on our podcast at some point. I know a few of you secretly play Xbox and pretend that you don't.
Oh, of course. Over here at Hello Nintendo, we are absolutely 100% Nintendo, absolutely 100% of the time, except for the time when I played on my Xbox not too long ago.
Yo. Guys, I can totally make up for it. I can totally legitimize myself, because here I am talking about Xbox. But listen. We good. I'm actually playing the Switch right now.
Oh man, that game! I really want to play that game, but I heard.
You know what? No, you don't.
The AI sucks, right?
The AI is bullshit. I don't care if you have to bleep that. The AI is bullshit, and it needs to be said. It's worse than Mario Kart, and it's awful. I'm pretty good at racing games. I can say that without any ego, and it kicks my butt. The rubber banding is outrageous. I have never seen rubber banding so bad, I think, in my entire life as a gamer.
Yeah, I think in the game prior to that, on the Wii U, Fast Racing Neo, I believe, in that game I was on like the hardest difficulty or something, and then I was racing. I was having a pretty much perfect race, and all of a sudden I go to the end, and it turns out that the people that were way far behind me are now like way far ahead of me, and I get third place in the end, and I nearly threw my controller like down in a lot of anger, and that would have sucked because it was the game
it's
pack,
so awful,
really expensive to fix.
And thank God you don't own a Switch then, because you would be throwing more than the controller.
Oh man, $300 down the drain.
They should probably include some sort of like a wrist strap for the actual console itself, like tied to your wrist.
Yo.
Well, yeah.
Get on that, third party guys.
Yeah, come on. The money is waiting to be had, and if you want, we are offering ourselves to test all of this for you. Just throw in a Switch as well, and we will test it for you.
I could have a second Switch. That'd be fun. Yeah. If you twist my arm.
You know, it's better to test it on multiple systems than just one system. So get multiple Switches, multiple bands for us.
Third parties. If you are watching this, if you are listening in, get on it, and you can contact us. We are ready to shell out for you.
Oh yeah, I shell so hard.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that Fast RMX is the game that you've been playing recently, Rhys?
Well, pretty recently. But and also still Zelda. Last night I managed to knock out the last of the Divine Beasts. Tiny spoiler, but not a huge one. But so yeah, I'm ready, just about ready to get rid of Hyrule's Ganon problem.
Oh, nice. Oh, how's the frame rate on the game now after the new patch 1.1.1, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I obviously, because I have eyes, I noticed the frame rate issues while playing docked before the patch, but I haven't actually had it undocked. So I haven't had it docked since the patch. I've only had it undocked. So I actually don't know if it's fixed the frame rate issues, because the frame rate issues never popped up when you actually have it in handheld mode in the past.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure those were only affecting the dock because it was something to do with the way it was rescaled and whatnot that affected the actual quality.
Yeah, I heard the Wii U version had some frame fixes too with the 1.1.1 patch, but I actually know absolutely no one online or offline who has that version.
I do.
Who actually
I know
has
someone
a
playing
Wii
it
U
on the
version?
Wii U.
Do you? How do they like it?
A
Really?
lot. My friend's girlfriend, she's absolutely obsessed with Zelda, so I think her opinion might actually be just a tiny bit biased, but she's having a great time. She wasn't quite prepared to.
Whose opinion isn't biased about Zelda?
I think everyone is a little bit biased about Zelda, to be honest. Although I fell out of love with the series. I haven't played it in a long time, and it was Wind Waker that really rekindled my love for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the new one though is just a step ahead of like everything else, especially because of the hype. But yeah,
Does that work?
Started now and then.
Yep. Podcasting.
Nice. Making us even more jealous.
Sorry, I'm ruining the podcast. I'm putting it down. I'm ruining the podcast.
Quit ruining it.
I've been hearing like a lot of people call it like the sort of the second Citizen Kane of like the Zelda series. I guess because you could call like Ocarina of Time really pushing it to that new level, that 3D Zelda, first time in 3D, and then that formula has been like refined. I'd say in terms of it, Twilight Princess honestly to me is like the high point of that sort of 3D Zelda, of that sort of like traditional 3D Zelda feel, and then Skyward Sword tried to change it up some, but not. I don't know. People don't really like that game as much. Although I think it's an alright game in my opinion. And then Breath of the Wild completely reinvents the series yet again.
I'd agree with that. As someone who's played Zelda since since the very first game on the NES. Like the jump from 2D to 3D was, as you mentioned, Ocarina, and this is again like a total reinvention of the game itself. It's a completely new genre. It doesn't play like a Zelda game because Zelda games followed such a strict system that it basically became a structure. Yeah, it basically became its own genre. Like when I describe, what is that game again? Beyond Good and Evil, which is a classic game that if you guys haven't played, you really ought to. Everyone should play Beyond Good and Evil. You can get the HD version on Xbox One and Xbox 360. It's amazing. Anyway, when I describe that, I describe it as a game that's like Zelda, because it's structured with overworld plus dungeons, and you acquire items in said dungeons to pass said dungeon and then access new dungeon. And it's also the same structure that the Darksiders game follow, and many others. And yeah, this new Zelda completely does away with that. It gives you all the toys within the first hour and just says, okay, go.
Oh wow, so you don't have to go.
Was that a spoiler?
Well, not quite, I think. But so in this game, you don't have to go and wait until the 5th dungeon and then just get your final iron boots or whatever.
No. You can actually see that. So without spoiling anything too drastic, the game begins on top of a plateau, and it's like the noob zone, and
that was basically in the trailer.
Exactly. So you start on this little noob area, and it lets you get to grips with the game's mechanics. And the game has these core mechanics that anyone who's seen any gameplay footage is aware of, like the ability to stop time or lift metal and, that sort of stuff. Like you've got your Half-Life gravity gun and all that sort of crap. And it teaches you how to get those. And you could easily get those in, I think actually I saw someone try to speedrun the game when they got them all in less than 10 minutes. But anyway, you get those, and then after that, the game gives you the glider, which is sort of like the iconic element of this particular iteration, I dare say. And you glide off the top of the plateau, and from there, if you want, you could just run naked straight at Hyrule Castle and take on Ganon literally with a stick, if you wanted to. But that's the game is totally open-ended from that point. It's just okay, here's Hyrule. We have this Ganon problem. So if you could see to that at some point, that would be awesome. But until then, I don't know, surf your shield down a mountain or something. It's completely open-ended.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of people compare it to Skyrim. Except for it's even in some instances more open-ended than Skyrim is, because Skyrim still had that
Skyrim is way more story-focused. I would compare it more to World of Warcraft vanilla. You've got this huge world that's to a realistic scale. If you think about Skyrim, and also Fallout 4, because they use the same engine. The world is quite big, but it's very, very dense, and it's full of hundreds, thousands of all these interweaving story plots. NPC 1 talks to NPC 2, and everywhere you turn, you trip over content. Yeah. But if you think of World of Warcraft, it's huge. The world size is gigantic, and there's quite long distances that are full of nothing, because the real world is like that. There's big empty spaces, and this Zelda is structured more like that, and the NPCs you meet, they don't really have much of a story. Oh no, I've lost my eggs. Can you go find me 5 eggs? I'm really distilling the game, obviously. It's much more engaging than that, but it has the same sort of free-form, plotless aspect. You can completely ignore the main plot if you want, and even when you follow the main plot, I'm almost reluctant to call it a plot, because it really is. We have a Ganon problem. Please see to that. Your Link, do your thing. Get off your lazy elf butt and go do something about it. So there's very few cutscenes and very little dialogue. It's just mostly you versus the world, and you make your own fun. And as unstructured as that sounds, somehow they managed to make it amazing. It's really it's amazing, because I don't like open world games, but I completely hooked on Zelda. In fact, I've been playing also Mass Effect Andromeda this week, and it has these big open world areas, and I groan every time I have to actually go out into this open world. I'm like, again, because it's the same old song of here's a map, here's 10 trillion icons with nebulous repeated content. Go and grind on them. Whereas in Zelda, there is no grinding. You do everything for fun, and I think that's great.
So basically, in terms of the way the open world is structured, rather than the open world in like a traditional sense being something you have to something you have to traverse to get to your next destination, the open world itself is the destination, and you're already at the place where you want to do everything.
I think the main character of Breath of the Wild is Hyrule.
So
the map.
So the map, not Link.
Yeah.
No. Link is but a vessel for me to explore this map.
Huh. Okay, you're making it sound less like a game now and more.
Honestly, it's an experience.
Yeah.
You have to play it. Zelda is one of those games where you can't just look. You can look at a silly GIF and you can laugh and you can watch a video review and think, oh yeah, this person likes it. But you have to play it. It's like pure gameplay. It's the same thing as Dark Souls. Dark Souls doesn't really have much of an in-your-face story, but the gameplay is what makes it. And the world that you travel and explore is what drives you on. And it's the same thing.
Oh yeah, and Dark Souls is one of those games that was really heavily inspired by Zelda as well, especially like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and things like that. Morely like Majora's Mask because of those like darker themes that are present within Dark Souls as well.
Yeah, and also this new Zelda borrows something back from Dark Souls, and that's its difficulty. This new Zelda will kick your ass. It's really hard, but in a good way. It never feels cheap like the AI in Fast Arrow Max.
Yeah. All right. So we just went on a huge like 20-minute.
Sorry.
Breath
My
of the
bad.
Wild
Zelda's
and,
Dark Souls. TLDR. Zelda's okay. 5 out of 7 would recommend.
Yeah. Usama, what games have you been playing this week?
Unfortunately, I'm not one of those lucky people that picked up a Switch. I've yet to do so. But my trusty old 3DS, or not old anymore.
Old to new 3DS.
Old, new 3DS. I got the Pokemon version of it. The Pikachu version.
I've never seen that.
Special edition and whatnot. It's pretty cool. It's just it's exactly as you would expect. It came out. It came out like a week before the Switch did, but like nobody was talking about it because the Switch.
And also,
it's a lot really fast.
Yeah,
but
and I live in Northern Europe, so it's really hard to get Nintendo stuff up here. So it might not even be out up here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a limited edition release, but it's exactly as you expect. It's a Pikachu on the front and Pikachu's butt on the back. It's basically it. But no, it's cool. I've been playing Pokemon,
of course,
and I've been I actually of course. I've been looking for new games to play because honestly I'm getting tired of Pokemon, but I do not have any idea. Essentially, one of the reasons being that I am kind of saving for the Switch, but I don't know.
I've actually got some
based on
Humble Bundle games that I probably will never get to. If you want some after we finish recording, I could throw some of them to you.
I see. Cool. The background deals of Hello Nintendo. But no, that's cool. Yeah, I've been looking for some cool games to start playing again, especially since I have more free time.
It'll also
now.
help me if I give you some of these games. So that's less games out of my backlog. Closer, help me out so I can get to that Switch closer. Because I told myself that I have to finish a few certain games. I have to finish Ocarina of Time, which is a game I've been playing recently, and like I have to finish, and also I have to finish like reading this book. Rhys, actually, you recommended this book a few months ago. Use of Weapons by Ian M. Banks.
Yes, how are you finding it?
So far, it's kind of heavy. I'm only
Yeah, I
on the
told you.
yeah. I'm not too far in the book yet, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not really one of those people that can just sit down for an entire day and just bust through a book. But I just sort of I've been reading a little bit every day, every time I get like a little bit of time. I've been going piece by piece. All right. And now, Brooks, what about you? What games have you been playing?
So well, if you asked me 2 days ago, I basically would have nothing because I, I barely played any games this week. But 2 days ago, a friend gave me Scribblenauts Unlimited for the 3DS. And
Huh.
so, I mean, it's actually pretty fun. So basically, the whole thing about the Scribblenauts series is that you get to type out whatever object you want and it appears. And you have to use those objects to solve puzzles. You can add adjectives to them to do crazy stuff. And so, like, in one thing, I had to knock down a bunch of bottles in, like, a classic carnival game. And of course, I could use the ball right next to me, but instead,
You got a bigger ball?
no, I gave myself a pair of wings, I got a wrecking ball, and I threw it, and I flew over the bottles and dropped it on there.
Scribblenauts is one of those unfortunate series where it's a good game, but not a lot of people were into the whole series because you have to type words instead
Oh my
of
god!
move a joystick around.
Nyan creator and the Keyboard Cat creator both filed copyright strikes and infringements against Fifth Self for them appearing in the game. That's poor form.
Oh wow!
Wait.
Sorry,
Really?
I'm reading the Wikipedia entry now. They're still in
Oh.
business.
Oh, wait,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
they just had some staff layoffs.
Ah.
That makes
That
more
is
sense.
the
Yeah.
as someone in the video games industry, that is just the way it goes. If you know what, if anyone is like thinking about entering into the gaming industry, and I've had a lot of people ask me, like just the games industry at all. A lot of people have asked me like, what would be your most important piece of advice? And my answer is always, you will get fired. Expect it, learn to deal with it, because that's just the way it is.
Going like with these layoffs and stuff like that, something that I've noticed a lot more in like sort of gaming news culture now is that less it's less and less focus on like the sort of on like the publishers or like developing teams themselves now, and starting to become more and more focused on the actual on like the lead developers behind games, which is something which is how it's been in like Nintendo for a long time with like Miyamoto and Mario, or like how Iwata, I think it was Iwata who fixed Pokemon Gold and Silver and was able to help Game Freak add in the Kanto region to the game.
Yeah, that was Iwata-san, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm starting to see that a lot more outside of like Nintendo itself. Well, Sakurai, he's not actually part of Nintendo anymore. He used to be part HAL Laboratories, I think, but then he like
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
he was the
and
creator of the Kirby series.
yeah, and now he made like Sora Limited or something like that. I don't remember what he's in now, but just know Sakurai as the guy who made Super Smash Brothers. And and actually our game of the week this week is Super Smash Brothers Melee. And in our if you saw recently in our game club for April Fools, we had a sort of our game club game was Super Smash Brothers Melee HD, and yeah, and so that brings on a huge like crazy discussion, like how like on if the game needs like an HD, because there's been a lot of games that people have been saying that need like some sort of HD re-release, like say Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door and other games like that, and like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, both Zelda games, they got HD re-releases on the Wii U. So it seems sort of obvious at first glance that Nintendo would put Super Smash Bros. Melee and tag on the little HD and throw it onto like the Wii U or now the Switch, right?
Yeah, but why not just make the next Smash Brothers game? I mean, Smash Brothers itself is iterative. It's a fighting game, and they iterate on it. In fact, I think basically all fighting games follow this iteration system, except oddly enough for Street Fighter. The amount of HD re-releases of Street Fighter 2 is just, it could be its own genre video game. Street Fighter 2 re-release, like there's so many. There's even one on the Switch, and they're charging like $300 for it. I don't know, but it's too much money. Oh, guys, let me share an old man story for you. This is great for Nintendo fans. When I was younger, like 19, I lived in a big share house with like 6-7 other dudes, and it was just this guy's, it was a man cave for a bunch of young guys, and absolutely everything in the house, who's doing the dishes, who's taking the trash, everything was decided by Street Fighter.
What?
So, who's doing the dishes tonight? Street Fighter.
That's a good way of...
Who's paying for the pizza? Street Fighter. And it's like, it is the perfect democracy, because it's like, this is not fair. You're better at Street Fighter of me. Get good. Like that was, it was the perfect democracy. Really, everything was decided by Street Fighter. We played that game. It was Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and we played that game one day so long that our fingers blistered, and we went and got like plasters. What do you call them in the States? Band-Aids?
Oh yeah.
We bandaged our fingers up and kept playing. And the next day we had exactly.
Dedication
but,
right there.
That was some time ago now. But that's just my little Nintendo fan story. Seriously, anyone having problems with their roommates should consider Street Fighter democracy.
Oh, I used to, when I was little, I used to be such a huge fan of Pokemon, and I used to always think how much more simple the world would be if everyone fought wars and stuff in a Pokemon battle, and just they hooked up their link cables, and then whoever's Pikachu or whoever's Charizard was the best. That's who got to who got to win.
Imagine the U.S. election: Trump versus Clinton Pokemon battle. That would be amazing.
I would have watched that Twitch stream. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Do you remember Twitch Plays Pokemon? That was great.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I mean, how people are able to work together like that, even with the new r/place. I mean, have you seen that?
It's great.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Arwac.
There's like so many different pictures. I think normally Reddit keeps their April Fool's things up for quite a while, right? Like a week or two at least. I think last year with like the Robin chats or whatever, they had it on for like at least 2 weeks. I think, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're watching this podcast in a timely manner, or listening to this podcast in a timely manner, I recommend you go on reddit.com. /r/place and check it out. This Twitch Plays Pokemon, it showed how there are multiple different like inputs that you can do. You could probably have a you could have everyone choose their type in an input, and if it's good enough, if that happened in Super Smash Brothers, you may be able to pull off something, because there are quite a few pretty cool like one frame techs and things techniques and things like that you can pull off. But traditionally most of those things would be pulled off on the GameCube controller. At first glance, I thought that the GameCube controller is one of the best controllers I've used, and actually, I have my own special custom GameCube controller with a white front and an orange back, and it's from the. And so I get those old style triggers, even though originally the controller was one of the newer Smash Edition controllers, and so it has the longer cable and stuff like that, and it's really fun to play on. But I don't know, I can't really consider it one of my favorite I consider it one of my favorite controllers, but I can't consider it one of the best controllers anymore, because it just lacks at least three different buttons. It lacks the second Z button. It lacks the like, I guess for PlayStation fans, the L3 and R3 where you click the
they click the joysticks.
yeah.
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 Well, I mean, it's kind of that trade-off between simplicity of the design, kind of, and adding more buttons to a console. I mean, like I guess I'll pull in the Xbox Elite controller into this conversation. Like, the whole concept of the Elite controller is great, especially for hardcore gamers, because it adds the options of having those two the back buttons or the remapping the buttons and whatnot. But in the end, I mean, I personally prefer to have a much more simpler designed controller. That's why I kind of like just the Nintendo's the original GameCube controller, is because it was much more simpler and people had to think about what to do instead of kind of just like pressing buttons, remapping.
You know, the Elite actually has magnetic buttons, so you can pull all of the triggers, all of the paddles out.
Yeah, on the back. Then you can just revert it back to a standard Xbox
And it feels
controller.
so good. The Elite controller, I can never really, like, I spent a few weeks using the Switch's Pro controller, and it's really nice. But then when I picked up the controller again to play, the Elite controller again for the Xbox to play Andromeda, I was like coming home. Because the Elite controller has like this, like lots of small things that you don't think about, like it's weighty. So it doesn't feel like a toy. It feels really solid, and it has this sort of rubber backing grip on the back of it so that it doesn't slip out of your hands and your hands don't get sweaty. So it's good.
And I think Nintendo did a very good job with that with the Pro controller. I mean, it's Nintendo, so you gotta kind of give them some slack.
Oh,
at least
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good. I like the GameCube controller as well, but I think it's ugly. I don't think anyone will ever say that the GameCube controller looks good. It's ugly, man. It looks like a toy, and in a bad way. But it's good because I'm not. Someone was going to tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it might have been the first controller. I know that the original Xbox came out like 2 days before the GameCube, but I think the GameCube was demoed first, and it was the first controller to have these uneven sticks. That is now like an Xbox thing.
I think it was, and Nintendo moved away from that with the first they tried the PlayStation style with like the Wii Classic controller, and then in the Wii U they did their own thing, having both the sticks at the top, which I actually like having both sticks at the top. But then once I got like an Xbox One S controller, actually the Dawn Shadow one, which is
looks so good.
It looks really good. It's this fading pink from like the bottom up, and it fades from pink to black, and it's the best looking controller I have ever seen in my life. I agree. Be really honest. And once I got that, and I felt like the weight of the controller honestly makes everything for me now. Because when I was little and like I played on like a GameCube controller and stuff like that, it felt good in my hands. I liked it because it was lighter, so it didn't like bog me down. But at this point, I don't play those crazy 6-hour gaming sessions anymore. So I don't ever feel like the difference of weight on the controller. But then also going back to the Elite controller versus the Xbox One Elite controller versus like the I was about to say Wii U Pro controller, but yeah, the Switch Pro controller. You also have to remember that those two controllers, the Switch Pro controller is what, $70? US dollars?
The Switch? No, it's like $100. It's 99 euros.
For the Pro controller?
Yeah.
Jeez, it's
ridiculously expensive.
It's well cheaper than that in the States. Oh
yeah, well, I'm paying the screw you Europe tax, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Everything is more expensive up here for electronics, except the internet.
Actually, I was looking at the price of the Nintendo Switch, where I am in the Midwest versus like the Midwest of the USA versus like in Europe, and since like the VAT tax, right? That's included in the price.
VAT, yeah, value added
VAT.
tax.
Yeah, that's included in the price of $300. I'm actually spending more money to buy my Switch in the States, or specifically where I am, because the tax is different depending on where you are in the
Oh,
US
yeah, that's
than
weird.
if I were to buy it in Europe.
Yeah, because our tax isn't included, so you have to actually pay tax on top of the $300, which is the price of the Switch.
Yeah, and you have like some states without tax and some with more and some with less. That's complicated.
It depends on the state, honestly. So like you can buy in one state, you can buy a Switch or any electronic device and pay no tax at all, and in some states it's like almost like 7-8%.
Why would you buy from those from a state that doesn't have that? Why not just
It's not even by the state either. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's even
sometimes
more local.
district.
By district
wow.
and stuff like that. Because like I think Chicago and I think New York City too has like, and some other of the big cities has some crazy tax. Like Chicago has, I think, something around 9% sales tax on pretty much everything. So people actually go from like these major cities to suburbs and rural areas specifically to buy clothes and stuff, because it's just so much cheaper to buy it in those rural and suburban areas.
Today I learned. We went on a tangent again. Now we're talking about buying clothes.
Hey, gotta look good playing your games.
Yes, absolutely. The Joy-Con, the GameCube controller was really good. It was a step forward because it really focused on, despite looking wacky and being very Nintendo, it focused really strongly on the concept of ergonomics, which really sort of factors into the uneven sticks. Because, what is it you spend the majority of your time in a game doing, especially a modern game, normally a first-person shooter? That's moving forward. So when your thumb is at rest, it's holding up, so that you raise that stick up so that you're pressing up without stretching your thumb. And the other stick that you use to look, you want perpendicular, like sideways, so that you can swivel your thumb. I'm actually doing the thumb motions right now, but you can't see me. But you're going to swivel your thumb in a circle without stretching it. And if you have both thumbs in the same, like both sticks even, it's much harder on your thumbs to do that. So I think that was really clever of Nintendo, and basically Microsoft saw that and were like, yep, taking that's a good idea, and designed their controller with the same philosophy. Because if you remember, the original Xbox controller did have uneven sticks, but that was they called it the Duke because of how it was like holding two big potatoes. It was an awful controller. It was awful. It wasn't until the 360 that they got it right.
Yeah, and I think one of the standards that really the Xbox controller really put on that Nintendo adopted later on with their more traditional controllers was like the diamond layout with the ABXY, and the GameCube controller like is really really notable for not having that sort of diamond shape and having differently sized buttons on the thing, with like the B button on the bottom left, X on the top right, Y in the top, and then a giant green A button in the middle. Brooks, you being the youngest person like in this this podcast today, you were actually born, like, weren't you like born after the GameCube was initially released?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So
Wait, when were you born? What are you, 6?
GameCube's a bit old. The GameCube is in high school now.
16.
Okay, so the GameCube's 2001, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
So I'm just getting my bearings on where we are in the timeline. Okay, so you were born in a post GameCube world.
Yeah. So Brooks, how do you feel about like that? How do you feel about that different layout, seeing as it's something that you've had that's just been there for you since like since you've been around?
Well, here's the thing, though. I've only really tried the GameCube controller once or twice, and I've tried the Xbox 360 controller a few times, but really, I haven't tried them enough to really get a true grip on them. So I'm mainly.
Sorry, I thought you were making a pun.
I guess I kind of was. But yeah.
You sly.
So mainly the Pro controller. I'm used to using that. The 2 sticks right where my thumbs are, buttons very easily accessible, all the buttons and sticks and everything. So easy to get. Very conforming to my hands.
Like, I actually will not play Super Smash Brothers unless it's with that GameCube controller, because I'm just that used to it. There are texts that I use, like, I do that I just need, like, the GameCube controller for. I can't use the diamond layout. However, that octagonal, that something that's, like, returned on the Switch, because if you, like, Rhys, you've got your Switch with you right now, right?
Yeah.
If you try on, like, the left stick, if you try rolling that left stick around, you feel like little like stops in it, don't you?
Hold on a sec. I'm clicking it now. Left stick.
Yeah, it's not like completely smooth.
No, there's no stops actually.
Really?
Wait.
Huh.
No, there is. There is.
It's really
It's subtle, but it's there.
But it's there. On the GameCube controller, it's not subtle at all whatsoever.
Yeah, they're like grooves.
Yeah, it's like completely it's completely grooves, but it's still noticeable, and that's one of the greatest features of the GameCube controller, in my opinion. That those sort of grooves, and when I tried out the Switch a few weeks ago, or actually no, closer to a month ago now. It was like the Saturday after it released that I got to try it. That I got to try it out for myself. Feeling those grooves made me like really, like, even though they were really subtle, made me like really happy, because that helps out a lot with movement and making sure you're going straight and things like that. Let's move on to our first news topic right now. And Brooks, I think you've got quite a bit of knowledge on this. It's the Sonic Forces announcement. It's coming out for quite a few consoles and also PC. And I think the PS4, the Xbox One, PC, and the Switch. Yeah, basically every home console, or hybrid, I guess, and PC. Brooks, how do you feel about the Sonic Forces announcement?
Okay, so Sonic the Hedgehog. I actually have quite a history. I played most of his games. I mean, okay, maybe not most, but quite a few, and the series isn't that good.
I will fight you.
Hey.
I like
Sonic 1, 2, and 3, man. Fight me IRL, seriously.
I mean,
don't be dissing that.
I mean, Sonic 2 is really good, and Sonic 3 is good, and Sonic 1 is but for the most part, the series really isn't that good. I mean,
let me hit you with a question then. What do you think is the epitome of 2D side-scrolling platformers? Just so I can gauge what you think is good versus what you think is crap.
So, the best 2D side-scroller that I've played.
Yeah. So I can tell you right now, I think the best is Rayman Legends.
Ooh, I've never played.
It's pixel perfect. It looks amazing, amazing controls. It's perfect. Although Ori and the Blind Forest is also really good.
The music levels.
I haven't played any Rayman games, so I can't comment. But my favorite platformer, and man, I'm gonna catch a lost slack for this. New Super Mario Brothers U plus New Super Luigi.
That's not so bad.
Okay, that's not actually that's not really a bad choice necessarily, because no, that's actually not a bad choice at all, because it's a really smooth game, although it's completely off what I guess the rest of us were expecting, because I personally was expecting the Super Mario Brothers, like the original Super Mario Brothers, aka the Holy Bible of all.
Or you could have thrown it for a 6 and said something really obscure like Klonoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metroid? Yeah. What?
What's a Metroid?
Although, I mentioned Ori and the Blind Forest before. Anyone who wants to play a game that plays just like the old Metroids, go and play Ori. It will give you the feels, but it's gorgeous and it controls well. And yeah, Like
Which Metroid game are you
the
talking
feels are
about?
strong.
Like Metroid 1?
Yeah, or Super Metroid.
Like, does it have the problems of Metroid 1 though? Because
I think the problems of Metroid 1, which are mostly based on the really frustrating and hair tearing
Yeah.
like exploration aspect of it.
we're nearly completely fixed in Zero Mission.
Yeah, we're like
I really like Zero
yeah, they're
Mission.
fixing like Zero Mission and stuff. That's more of an issue with the time I think that it was released, which was on the NES. And I think if it was that game Zero Mission was paid. Think of Zero Mission as what modern Metroid 1, or actually Zero Mission isn't even modern anymore. It's retro in and of
We've come
itself
full circle.
at this point. Yeah. hmm And yeah, technically, what do you guys consider like retro? I think 2 generations old is what most people start, or 2 or 3 generations old is what people start to consider retro, sort of.
For me, retro is N64.
I could agree with that. N64, PS1, and before. I mean, even those are sort of pushing it. I really associate retro with pixel art and SNES and NES and Atari and that sort of stuff. But that's just me.
I kind of think of the GameCube and GBA as retro.
GBA? What about the Game Boy?
Well,
You're young.
the Game Boy is most definitely retro at this point, I think.
Definitely.
The GPA is, and yeah, I guess with all these remakes and stuff on like that people want from the GameCube, I guess that's sort of a telltale sign that okay, it's starting to become like the cool retro, or it's going to be soon, if not already. And one of those, and like going back to the Sonic Forces announcement, one of those games that that for some reason people really want remade, or people want re-released, is Sonic Adventures, which came out on like the Dreamcast and then later on the GameCube and stuff like that. And honestly, Sonic Adventures is
nostalgia.
And Sonic Adventures 2, it's all nostalgia.
Yeah.
That game, Sonic Adventures 2, when I was younger, my brother and me, we used to play that game for hours on end, and we used to always, and we loved playing that game. But I tried going back to it a few months ago, and after the Sonic Humble Bundle, and it was just rough. And then I decided to just skip Sonic Adventures and go straight to Sonic Generations instead. And oh boy, am I glad I did that. And Sonic Forces is supposed to have like that sort of Sonic Generations gameplay, which is having both the modern like style that Brooks mentioned earlier with like from like Sonic Unleashed and stuff like that, and going back and also having that classic 2D Sonic gameplay.
That's not confirmed yet, but I mean,
not yet.
No, it's only the modern
I
Sonic
thought it
stuff.
was.
But I mean, classic Sonic, is
Well,
going
I
to be one of
yeah.
the playable characters, like in Generation. So it's just assumed.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. And even if it doesn't, there's also Sonic Mania, which is a sort of retro-feeling classic Sonic game that's coming out. Although it was delayed, it was supposed to be out very soon, but it was delayed to this summer, actually.
Sega delayed a game.
No.
What?
Oh my god. But yeah, Sonic. Well, I finished Sonic Generations a few months ago, actually, in January, I think, and so it's still pretty fresh in my mind. And honestly, I like that game a lot. And so if they make it like that Sonic Generations gameplay, and after watching a little bit of gameplay, it looks like that'll be pretty good. But they should probably add some of the polish that, okay, don't hate me when I say this, that Lost World provided for the game, because Sonic Lost World is probably my favorite Sonic game by far, because of just how clean everything feels. It's definitely meant for a much younger audience in terms of like the bosses and stuff like that. But if you look at it from a purely gameplay standpoint, it's just so clean. Everything about the game is polished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. There's just so.
I can tell you're not very enthusiastic about
I
Sonic
guess.
in general.
Yeah, I am just not
Sonic. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Sonic fan.
So you're telling me you don't got to go fast?
Take it slow.
No, you got to go
I
fast.
I prefer Mario.
No, you got it.
I'm just a Mario.
But Sega does what Nintendo don't.
You mean exit out of the console
Yeah,
market?
come on, dude.
Yeah, they.
Oh, savage. Oh. Oh, I think we should move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, hey.
earth-shattering, man.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think that is a good
Speaking of-
segue to our next topic, actually.
Yeah, speaking of Nintendo moving out of the or what people think is Nintendo's first move out of the console market. Let's talk about Nintendo on mobile. Last episode,
High
the last real
five!
episode, we had a lengthy segment about Fire Emblem Heroes, and one of the main criticisms we got from that episode was that we went way too in depth on it. So,
Yeah, if you guys start talking about that again, I'm gonna stop playing my Switch.
So for Rhys's sake, we're gonna try keeping it lighter on the Fire Emblem Heroes talk this week, and instead we'll talk more about Super Mario Run, which just got its Android release, and it's a game that I unfortunately have started playing just now instead of months ago when I was actually hyped for the game.
How are you finding it?
It's
I like it a lot, actually. I'm really considering paying that $10 to unlock everything. First, it's like, for people who don't know about what Super Mario Run is, it uses the graphics from the new Super Mario Brothers series and throws it onto a kind of auto run game where it just is automatically running, and you just use your finger and you tap the screen and can do stuff with it. And tapping, and normally on these kinds of games it seems pretty simple. I don't know if you guys remember this game, the Impossible game on Xbox 360, I think.
I remember.
It was based where you're like a block and then you just start jumping over stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction into like the auto run sort of game.
I think PewDiePie made that
And-
famous.
Yeah. He might have. I found out from about that game from my friends. It was only 99 cents too, and in like a time when games were at least $15. Yeah,
Very
at least
expensive,
$15
yeah.
for the low end of games. That was a great buy. And so, but this is not quite the same thing as like that kind of auto runner, because there's a timer on this one. And normally you'd think a timer doesn't really make sense on an auto run game, right? But you can do so much stuff to slow the pace of your running down, and you can do so much to like try finding like hidden coins and stuff. There's like 3 levels of hidden coins that you can find. The first level is like the pink coins that you can get, and after getting those pink coins you can move on to getting those purple coins, and then after purple coins you can move on to getting green coins. I've only gotten in like the free levels, I think like levels 1, I've only played through levels 1 through 3. I've really only gotten the pink and purple coins, because the green coins are exceptionally hard to like come across, and I probably clocked in quite a few hours in for a free game so far.
yeah.
That's nice.
You guys
I actually bought the game all $10 a few months ago, and I have.
Hey, big spender.
Oh.
And yeah, I pretty much 100% completed the game, and I would really suggest paying the $10. It's really fun going through all the levels, trying to get all the black coins on everything, except 4-1, which was terrible to get it all. But and so you have all these different, have not just going through the adventure, but also Toad Rally, which is a 60-second thing where you have to race a ghost character of another user through a level, trying to get as many coins and doing as many actions to get toads as possible. And from that you get toads, which you can use to upgrade your kingdom, and then you get stuff and you make a kingdom.
Oh, see, I haven't even gone into any
What?
of that stuff besides just like playing the regular game. Like I've just been whenever I open up the app, I go and click on that warp pipe, and I just go and play through the levels. I've done none of. I get like those Toad like rally tickets and stuff like that. I've used none of them at all. That's actually quite a lot more content than I originally like thought I was gonna get from that.
Yeah,
$10.
I mean, I think Toad Rally is actually the main meat of the game, where so you have your goal of upgrading your place. You can unlock more areas to add objects like You can get some golden trophies of Bowser and Peach and Goombas even. And you can get some hills to add, some little decorations, and Toad houses to unlock more characters. Yoshi, Luigi, and Toadette. And in fact, the latest 2.0 update added some multicolored Yoshis.
Yeah!
Yay.
Yay, multicolored Yoshi.
And I mean-
Hell yeah, palette swap, call it a day, charge money for it, we good.
Woo.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
I mean, it was part of a free update.
I'm just being facetious.
But kind of the
Yeah.
funny thing, though, so you have a limit of getting 9,999 toads. To get the red Yoshi, you
That's
need to
fair.
get 9,999 toads. But the thing is, the Yoshis have special ability to allow you to get more toads of their color. So like red Yoshi gives you more red toads, blue Yoshi gives you more blue toads, etc. The thing is, one, when you get red Yoshi, you already have 9,999 toads, so it's completely useless. And two, you already get so many red toads, they're basically useless. I mean, I probably have well over 5,000 red toads. Like half of my toad count is
basically-
red toads.
So basically, the red Yoshi is there just so you can be the rich kid,
Yeah.
showing off all the toads.
Basically.
Bragging rights.
Actually, there is one more
Yeah.
thing I haven't done. The final level. Making the
Why not?
cut.
Ooh.
Because it is the hard level of this game. You know, every modern Mario game has it. Don't touch everything in New Super Mario Bros. U, Champions Run in Super Mario 3D World, the perfect run in Super Mario Galaxy 2, etc. Making the cut is this game's perfection level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about? And I'm guessing there are also like the 3 levels of coins there too.
No, it's part of the quote-unquote bonus levels. So when you get all the black coins on every single level, you unlock it. And then there's 5,
Oh.
so you have to beat the incredibly hard level, but there's also 5 black coins in that level to collect. So,
Black
So,
coins.
so you're saying that I have to pay money and then I have to actually play the game to unlock all the levels? What the heck, Nintendo?
yeah, I know, right?
Shocking.
Yeah.
I've played the game, but only like 1 or 2 levels. I actually have worked on a development team that developed an infinite runner before, so playing more of them is like it's like shock therapy for me. I can't tell you which one, unfortunately, but yeah. So I was like, yeah, it's Mario and he's running. That's enough. Thank you.
Yeah, but one thing that I think that Super Mario Run did very poorly is that they do not have that amazing, and I mean absolutely amazing, spring event that Fire Emblem Heroes has, which is adding the Playboy Bunny costumes to quite a few different characters.
The men.
Including the men. There's one character, Xander. He's like a mounted unit, so he has a horse, and he carries around a spear normally. No, in this one he has a giant carrot. He just runs around with a giant carrot stabbing people.
No, keep talking about Fire Emblem. That's fun.
Hey, Snappa Leatherback here, and it's time to start the actual podcast. For some reason, these yahoos left me out of their talk about Nintendo finally releasing Super Mario Run on the Android, and how the GameCube controller compares to current controllers or whatever. But enough of that garbage. Let's get back to the real discussion about what's been going on in the Mushroom Kingdom since last week.
Open your eyes.
Huh? What are you saying?
Open your eyes.
What?
Wake up, Matt.
What? No. My name is... My name... It's Matt. What happened? And why do I smell like a turtle? The last thing I remember is sitting playing Breath of the Wild, waiting for you guys to show up so we can record.
You were gone. We couldn't find you. And now you were just speaking in this alternate persona of Snap. You know what? Forget about it. You're back, and that's all that matters.
Cool. So, are we ready to start this? Where is everyone? I thought we were supposed to finally talk about Nintendo Doomed. I was looking forward to that topic.
Yeah, well, come back next time for that. And thank you to all those listening to our podcast every week, and thank you to those new listeners too. And to make sure to discuss the episode on the Nintendo subreddit. Again, thank you all, and have a
Hope you have a great whatever you're doing.
Matt!
Hello, Nintendo!